Supply chain management and logistics. Supply chain management is the management of all activities that facilitate the fulfillment of a customer order for a manufactured good to achieve customer satisfaction at a reasonable cost. AMR research suggests that companies that excel in supply chain operations also performs better in other financial measures of success. An AMR executive stated the following: value chain performance translates into productivities and market share leadership. Supply chain leadership means more than just low cost and efficiency. It requires a superior ability to shape and respond to shifts in demands with innovative products and services. Supply chain management is responsible for selecting what modes of transportation is the best to use. They make the contracts with the suppliers of global and domestic transportation companies. They negotiate the rates, shipping, insurance, the liability contracts. They also manage international trade agreements, navigate customs law and the import and export fees, and use business analytics to evaluate all their shipping responsive options. Other responsibilities: managing the flow of goods to the warehouses, the retail stores, and even to the customers directly. They trace shipments while they are in transit and expedite the shipments if they need to be transported quicker. They coordinate shipments between airports, rail yards, and seaport docks. They issue and audit the freight bills and handling of any damaged good claims. Supply chains face many risks. They are divided into 5 categories: inventory risks, which would include not having enough products to keep up with demand or being backordered so much that consumers have to wait long periods of time to receive their products. Capacity risk, which is when the company is not able to produce enough products. Logistics and scheduling risks, which involve suppliers not being able to provide quality delivery methods, or when order cycles take too long. Lastly, there are global economic risks such as regulations, taxes, and tariffs, and natural disasters.
There are ways to mitigate these risks. For inventory risks, it is a good idea to always keep extra stocks. Capacity risks, you should always have extra equipment, such as through leases or sharing schedule. And use preventative maintenance, and if necessary, use the temporary workers. Logistics and scheduling, you could increase in quality control inspections, partner with local transportation firms, and create emergency backup plans to ship products. To mitigate global economic risks, use countries to get resources, create emergency plans in case of disaster, while also supporting social sustainability. Government risks work towards creating a global legal team. For product risks, make better strategic plans and demand more forecasting capabilities, while also hiring more contract manufacturers and suppliers. Security risks require constant technology upgrades, backing up all systems and site criteria. E-commerce has influenced management of the supply chain in many ways. There are more types of supply chains influenced by e-commerce than business to consumers. The supply chain structures include business to business, consumer to business, government to consumer, government to government, government to business. All levels, including federal, state, and local, use e-commerce. Even food stamps are considered e-commerce. Intermediary is an entity, being real or virtual, that helps to organize information between the buyers and sellers. Return facilitators are in charge of all returned items and refunding the money to the consumers, as well as repairing any damaged goods that are returned. Deliver reliability measured as a perfect order, fulfillment, and meets all of the customer's needs. Responsiveness refers to the perfect delivery fulfillment. Customers related measures ensures the ability of the supply chain to meet consumers' wants and needs. Supply efficiency consists of average inventory, which informs managers how much of the firm's assets are in the inventory. Inventory turnover, which is the ratio of cost of goods sold divided by average inventory value. Also, inventory days supply, or the average total of inventory divided by the cost of goods sold per day, where cost of goods sold divided by is calculated by annual cost of goods sold divided by operating days per year. Sustainability measures shows how the supply chain performance affects the environment. Financial measures show the effect the supply chain has on the bottom line of the total supply chain costs and the costs of processing returns and warranties in cash to cash conversion cycle.
So calculating inventory turnover and inventory days supply. This is just showing you the calculations that you have to do to get your inventory turnover and inventory days supply. Total supply chain cost is the most important measure. It shows all the costs that go into the supply chain, including direct costs of procurement, cost of transportation, tariffs and fees, inventory, management oversight. And this is just a calculation that shows what all the different letters are for. The cash to cash conversion cycle, this is the calculation for that. So you have the inventory days, average total inventory divided by cost of goods sold per day, ARDS, or the accounts receivable divided by revenue per day. And then you have APDS, which is the accounts payable value divided by revenue per day. And then revenue per day equals the total revenue divided by operating days per year. And then you take all of those calculations and put them into one to get your cash to cash conversion cycle. Evaluating and measuring supplier performance plays an important role in supply chain management. There are actually 3 different types of levels of suppliers. Level 1 are the suppliers who provide raw materials, cases, and hardware, and they are managed by the engineering, material control, and purchasing and supplier companies. Level 2 suppliers they provide specialty materials, equipment, as well as services. This level of suppliers is managed by internal customers. Level 3 provides commodity items, and they are managed by purchasing. A certified supplier just simply goes under investigation and is they have to meet all the qualifications to make them qualified. Sustainability is a big goal for supply chains. There are so many harmful emissions and pollutants that come with a supply chain. Research actually shows that 60 to 70% of carbon comes from the supply chain. So most supply chains are trying to go green, which is where the green sustainable supply chain comes in. It's environmentally friendly, and it uses environmentally friendly inputs that can also be recycled within the environment. Manufactured goods recovery. These consist of reuse or resell, which refers to using equipment or parts to sell directly to customers. Repairs, they can be done to any broken parts so that a piece of equipment can operate again. Refurbish, manufactured goods to give it a better look or components. Remanufacture, or disassemble a product and replacing or repairing a broken or worn out piece. Cannibalize is where you just go take parts from other things and use those things with the same equipment. Recycling, by disassembling them and selling the parts or scraps to other suppliers. Incarnation or landfill disposal are goods that cannot be repaired and they just get thrown away. Reverse logistics is managing the flow of finished goods, materials, or components that can't be used through the supply chain from customers towards suppliers, distributors, or manufacturers for resale, reuse, or disposal. Logistics that's just authorizing what is done with the good. Marketing sales, it's remarketing and selling the goods that have been recovered through the repairs or refurbished or manufactured things that we talked about before. Accounting, accounting, finance, approving any kind of financial activities within the company. Call center service, managing calls all along the supply chain. Legal, regulatory compliance, monitoring compliance with all laws. And this just shows a chart of what happens.
And for our last slide, for our example, or our that we found was logistics has become a critical part of the supply chain management and consumer demand. In less than 2 decades, logistics management has influenced production or product movement, exceed consumer demand. Manufacturers in most industries have turned to suppliers and subcontractors who focus on one area, and those subcontractors in turn usually have to rely on many others. The actual example that we found lies within Amazon. When you kind of go to order from the app, you're essentially ordering the goods from the manufacturer through a third-party shipping company, which generates the cheapest price possible due to the fact that you're cutting out the shipping, which costs the most money. By creating partnerships with suppliers, shipping services, and warehouses, and connecting these services through automated systems, the logistics of getting products to consumers are improved with the reduced overhead costs and faster delivery. Underlying how the logistics system theory works requires strategic planning when calculating what will be needed while focusing on obtaining materials and managing how quickly products are produced to help to ensure swift consumer.